Okay, so this is an unboxing video of the Hasegawa Honda NSR500, the Elf Honda from 1989. And this is a first for me because I've never done a Hasegawa motorbike kit before, but here they are, very good. So you've got various things around the box that give you sort of dimensions, a couple of photographs of the bike and various details about it. So we take the box out. What I've also got is Top Studio detail set for it, which I'll come to in a minute. So first thing is this bag, so I'll have a look what's in here and open them up as I go along. So got a clear part, which I'm not sure what that is, whether it's to represent the mesh cover on the intakes, and then obviously the clear canopy. So I'll put that back in the clear bag so it doesn't get damaged. And then I've got a bag with the tyres, which again I will open up and have a look at what the condition of the tyres is like. So fairly nicely moulded. Got a seam line down the middle that'll need sanding off, but you sand them anyway. So they look okay. And then I've got a bag of wire. I've got black wire and clear wire in there, which looks like a similar sort of size to the Tamiya ones you get. So I'm going to put everything back in the lid so that I don't lose them. And then I've got a couple of screws. There's 4 screws and a spring in there. So that looks like it's a positive thing anyway. There's certainly less screws than you get in a Tamiya kit. So there's the front cowling, and there's a little bit of flash on there, but not too bad. See down the front there, it's just going to need cleaning up a bit. It doesn't look too bad. And then I've got, come to that lot in a second. I've got a bag full of all the other bits. So I'll take all these screws out and then have a look what we've got. So again, there's the rest of the fairing panels. Front mudguard, same as Tamiya one, is 2 pieces that you need to assemble. 2 different versions looking at it, depending what version of the bike I'm guessing you're going to build. And various other little bits and pieces. So quite thin plastic, looks quite nice. And then we've got that piece that fell off something, which looks like part of the fork brace, so I'll put that in the box so it doesn't get lost. And then we've got the wheels, tiny little valve in there, looks like the shift linkage. And that's going to take a bit of work to clean up that little blob bit there. And then you've got what's going to be the paddock stand. Not sure that is. Looks like it's could be another shift linkage of a different type. What I think of the bits for the spark plugs. Again, another plastic notch on that clutch cover. That might be sort of part of the electronics or something. I'm guessing that's the actual clutch basket itself. But yeah, there's a few. Looking at it, there's a few of these notches that need to cut out. So we'll see what it's like when we get to that. 2 different types of wheels depending on what version of the bike that you're doing. So work that out when I actually come to assemble it, which one I want. And then the rest is grey parts. So got the parts for the engine build up, exhaust bits, radiator bits. Guessing that might be seat or something, back of the seat. Lots of little bits, details. Got some nuts and things there which you don't get with Tamiya kits. And then that looks like part of the possibly rear suspension or something. And then a few more engine bits, a filler cap or something possibly for the radiator. Just notice this down here on the exhaust, you've got these bits to represent the spring clamps, and the same on there as well, which is quite a cool little touch. We've got the forks, and again 2 different types of forks, which I believe one is for being extended and one's being compressed. So I think if you've got a rider on it or something like that, you'd use the compressed versions. And then you've got the actual brake calipers, which are nicely moulded, quite crisp, which look good. And then various other bits on this sprue. You've got the brake discs there for the front, and the bits that hold the handlebars on the forks. They look like they're part of the possibly part of the forks as well. Various bits and pieces, clocks there, fuel cap, top of the handlebars, and there's your actual grips with your lever. So you've got one there, and then you've got this one here, which I'm not sure which is which. I think that's the clutch, this is the brake, looking at it. And you've got tiny little, I don't know whether you can see that on camera, under my nail, a little plug there to connect the wire onto, and then separate grip there, which make it a lot easier for painting, not having to mask that off separately. And again, got all these tiny little notches, but loads of these, and loads of them on the chain. They're all going to need cleaning up. I've never seen quite a chain that's moulded wonky as well, which is interesting. More parts of the forks. I think that's to run up from the frame to the where the clear visor is. Rear brake caliper, foot pegs. So there's a lot of detail in this. And then you've got this one, which has got the frame on it. Not quite sure what that part's for at the moment. Engine block, 2 holes either side, rear swing arm. Again, part of that. That almost looks like it fits inside of there for the frame, which you get a lot of people on the Tamiya ones, if that is the case, tend to fill these to cover that up. Tops of the engine side and stuff. So that's a really nicely moulded sheet, and a bit of paper in there. So then what have we got left in the box? Decal sheet. So first one has tyre decals, which is straightforward enough, and then the next one is the main decal sheet, which you can see there's got a nice shine to them. Not sure how well they're going to lie down. They're certainly these ones that go at the bottom of the sort of belly pan are quite big, so it's going to be a little bit challenging getting them to lie flat, but I'm sure it'll be okay. And then obviously the Elf logos, Honda logos, various other bits. Not that many for a race bike, but it is an older one, so there's possibly not that much to them compared to some of the new ones. So it should be a fairly basic paint scheme. And we'll look at the instructions. So what have we got? Got this one first, which I'll show you, which is the inside part of it, so you've got your sprues to say what you've got, what you need, what you don't need. So it's saying that's why you've got these extra wheels, you're not going to need those ones. Paint call outs at the bottom, which, if I remember rightly, for Mr. Colour paints or something like that. And then obviously your paint and decal call out on the main itself. A bit of information on applying tyre decals and the other decals, and obviously the usual write up on the front as to the actual bike. So then it comes to the main instructions. So it all opens up as one big sheet. So you've got the engine build up onto the rear swing arm, and then you've got this bit here, which I was saying in the pieces I wasn't quite sure what it's for. So that looks like the what's the word, where the seat goes, the underside. So it's back part of the frame, and obviously you've got your attachment for your rear swing arm there, and that was right about these pieces going inside of the main frame, which is pretty cool. And then you've got, if you open it up that way, two different options for the forks depending, like I said, I'm assuming that's for whether you've got a rider or not, because you've got upright suspension and inverted suspension, as it calls it. So they're very similar, apart from a couple of longer or short pieces. And then the rest of your fork assembly, all your wiring, hoses and everything, and then fuel tank and fairings. So looks like it's a good, interesting build, that one. So looking forward to doing that. So I'll just show you quickly as well the contents of the Top Studio set for this bike, because this is what I found really cool. So to start with, we've got a bag full of turn metal parts, what looks like the tops of the fork struts and replacement forks. And you've got these bits, got the things for the brake or throttle linkages, a couple of other bits. That might be a shifter part or something like that. Loads of resin pieces, top of the clutch, electronics boxes, loads of electronic connectors and things in there. A few different wires, different thicknesses, hoses and things. Come to the instructions in a second. And then you've got 5 Photo X frets. So you've got the biggest one, which has the actual brake discs on it, and a couple of hose clamps. And on this one you've got all these little tiny sort of rivet and bolt heads, sort of turn it that way so you can see it, Honda logos and such. And then on that side you've got the top of the clutch assembly, rear wheel adjusters, that looks like the clutch basket, and a little electronic attachment there, and more hose clamps, washers and things. And then on this side you've got the inner part of the disc brakes, and then you've got this bit that makes up the clutch assembly. So that's really cool. And then double-sided instruction sheet. So the first one runs through all of the parts that you've got. There's your clutch basket assembly, hose clamps that you've got, sort of washers and various things, all of the attachments. You've got fork assembly, front brake disc assembly, loads of nuts and bolts on the front caliper there. And you've got this looks like a throttle linkage or something like that there, which is cool. And then on this side you've got wiring details. So I'm guessing you replace the kit ones with these ones that are in this set. It'll be thinner wires and stuff. And then so you've got all the electronics boxes and details in there. There's your rear chain adjuster. You've got sort of nuts and washers on there. A few extra detail bits and pieces. So, and there's your wiring diagram. So that's going to be a cool addition to that kit, I think. So yeah, looking forward to building that one. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.